Hi, I'm Seamless, and I'm going to answer a question. The question is, why don't I use clickbait in my titles? I'd perform better. I'd get more views. It would be, people would find me more and I'd probably get more subscribers, right? Well, actually, no, but we'll get to that. To answer that question, we have to define what clickbait is. I get this question a few times. I think only one person ever actually literally asked me why I don't use clickbait. That particular guy who asked the question was kind of funny because he was asking like in full seriousness without any kind of like hint of the idea that might be right or wrong. It's just like, why don't I do that? It seems like a good idea business wise, and he's not wrong. Like it definitely is a little bit better for like the business side of things, but it's really more of a personal preference that I don't do that kind of thing. It's really not about what anyone else is doing. I don't really care if anyone else does it. I do what I do because I want to do it, because the way that I do it, because I want to do it. But there's reasons why I want to do it, and it has to do with my experiences with clickbait when I was a newer producer trying to find how to do stuff. Because I'm sure plenty of you have this experience where you're looking up like how to make this guy sound, how to make this guy song, how to make this genre, whatever. And then you see all the most popular videos of that search term and you watch them and they're just the worst. They're just the worst tutorials ever made. But they have so many views. They have so much. They're very popular. Why is that? It's because of the titles. It's because when you search those terms, those are what show up and that's what you get because they're titled that. And none of my videos are called that. Pretty much none of them ever were called that. And the only times I would ever call anything like that is if that's what the video was. Like, inescapably, irrevocably, completely, perfectly, that thing. This is why I never use artist names. That's another question, like, in that vein. Like, why don't I use how to sound, like, how to bass whatever, Skrillex growl, how to bass, what, that kind of thing. And you might be thinking, well, you do that for the 75Ks. But the thing about the 75Ks is that I'm, like, literally referencing a sound from an artist's video. Or an artist track. That's in the video. Like, here's the sound, and it's from that guy, and here's my attempt at it. And the clear implication is that it's my attempt at it. Whether or not it succeeds is up to you, that kind of thing. But that's all the video is purporting to show you, is that it's an attempt at that sound. I'm never going to tell anybody that I succeeded either, even if I think I did, even if I think I nailed something. Like sometimes, like only a few times have I ever really nailed something enough that I can be like, that is that sound. And it's usually something easy. It's usually something like a dead mouse pluck that's like a square and a saw wave. That's something like that kind of thing. That's the only time I'm ever going to be really confident in my own like recreation abilities to be like, this is how you do this kind of thing. And even if I get the gist, even if I'm close enough to get the basic concept of what's happening, I'm still not going to make a video, like a how to bass video, especially about like, how to sound like Cohen sound and do that. What I'm going to do is call it like how to bass this, bandpass notches neuro stack resampling. Like that's going to be what I'm going to call it. And the big difference between those two is that people are going to still search the Cohen sound term, and they're not going to search whatever the hell I name my videos, because how would they know to do that? If they knew enough to call my, that, they probably would have known enough to make a sound already. But so that's like, it's a bit of a pride thing for me to only call my videos what they are. And it's also because like I said, I remember what it was like when I was new and I tried finding these things, and then I would find the videos with the artist names in there, and they were just not good. Just not they're not the things that I wanted. And it's really just that particular reason, is that like I've said before about like my process to make videos is that I make tutorials that I wish I had when I was learning how to do this kind of stuff. And part of what I wish I had was that the videos didn't lie to me about what they were. And I'm not saying that the creators of those videos actually set out to lie to people about how to do it. They probably thought what they were doing was awesome and like and how to do it and like good enough to slap a name on it. I just don't think that about my stuff. I don't think that about the things that I'm doing that I want to slap someone else's name on it. I also don't want to build a following based on other people's work. And it's unfortunate because that's advice that people would have for other people about how to get bigger, is to do remixes and do, bootlegs and do collaborations and that kind of thing. And there's definitely, you're not wrong about that. You definitely get a lot more traffic when you have more popular things. In fact, my most popular video ever is a Skrillex remix. Although I want to point out that video's only got, that's a song. That's not a tutorial. That's just a song. And then like the tutorial for that sound in those videos are like the third or it's up there, like one of my more popular videos. So that obviously worked out. But the Like, I could triple my my view count right now if I just did exclusively remixes and exclusively titled my sound design videos with other artists as examples. And part of me thinks that I should, just because people aren't gonna find my videos as easy. And that was actually the guy's point who asked me, like, why don't I use clickbait about, his point was that people aren't gonna find my videos. And he's right. He's absolutely right about that. But here's what I meant earlier when I said that. I think I said this when I said that it had more view counts on videos does not necessarily equate to more subscribers. If I had a video that it just said how to sound like Skrillex, that's all it said, and then it was a tutorial about, like, average Skrillex stuff, like, it wasn't even that bad, like, it would get a huge amount of views. It would get an unbelievable amount of views, like, in comparison to my regular stuff, but it wouldn't really net me the stable kind of following that the smaller view count videos of mine generate. And the reason for that is because when people find my smaller videos, people find my channel at all, honestly, it's usually because of word of mouth. It's because somebody somewhere asked a question that I answered in some of my videos that someone else knew, and then posted a link to one of my videos that was precisely what that person wanted, because that's what the video was called. They just didn't know how to call it, and they would never found it on their own. So someone else showed it to them. And now I have, like, a lifelong subscriber because that guy was like, damn, this is everything I ever wanted. How did I not know about this? And there's actually tons of reasons why you wouldn't have known about this. And so while I have fewer viewers and fewer subscribers, the ones that I do have are way more valuable than, like, the million view videos that only, like, you go find those videos that people of, like, the tutorials of people just be like 2 billion views of, like, how to make dubstep or how to sound like Skrillex, and then look at how many subscribers they have. Ain't a lot. And so longer term, their videos don't net a big return, right? So my viewers and my followers are of a higher quality than just, like, the spammy ones, the people who clickbait all the time. It's a slower growth process for me. And, like, I'm not gonna say I planned this, the whole time, but it was really just that, like, here's something that's, like, that might not be super well known about me, but I don't have a lot of, like, neuroses, and I'm not terribly afraid of a lot of things, but I am, like, the thing I hate the most in life, and actually I'm afraid of a lot, is being wrong. I really, really don't want to be wrong about stuff. And it's not even just about from an educational standpoint that, like, I don't want to have bad information. I hate being really sure about something and then just being wrong. And then someone showing me the hell up about how wrong I was. And that's happened before. Like, I've had wrong information, but I really try not to say stuff. I try super hard to be very careful about how I say things most of the time. And I try really hard to make sure that what I'm saying is technically correct, even if it isn't, like, what someone else may have wanted or thought about what I said. What I say is what I mean, and it's really very technically precise in that particular kind of way. And it's because of a lifelong fear of just saying the wrong thing, but with conviction, and then just being proven irrevocably wrong. That's just the worst. I just hate it. I'm right thinking about it. I'm getting all buzzy. And it's just bad. And so, like, I would absolutely hate to put up a video that's like how to make a Skrillex growl and then have it not be, like, perfectly representative of everything that implies, which would just be impossible for me to do because I'm not Skrillex. So that's why I don't do that kind of thing. It's also why I don't like how to dubstep, how to drum and bass, how to any kind of generic, how to EDM. Like, that would be the worst, because that means so many different things. So many people will find it, and 90% of them will be disappointed in whatever that would possibly have been. And, like, so that's why, like, I really am only ever like super sure and super convicted about, like, really basic stuff, or about something that's original, something that I did, that I have command over because I made it. Like, that's the only time that I'm ever going to be, like, fully on point about that. And there's also a few times that I've just been wrong about, like, science and stuff, about, like, how citrus works, or how harmonic works, or how the harmonic series works, that kind of thing. I've definitely been wrong about stuff before, but, like, I'm a little bit less mad about that stuff because based on the information that I had, and based on, like, provable experiments where, like, when I've done something that seemed very much like this was why it was happening, and I would show why it was happening, that's where I got my answer from. Like, I don't just bullshit things. At least I try really hard not to just bullshit things in terms of being factually correct. And clickbait is just the antithesis of that. And I would hate that forever if I did that. And any one person came in and just being like, dude, this wasn't what I wanted. I thought this was going to be this. And you were just wrong. And then I would just be like, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have did that. So, like, that's a big reason why I don't do that. Why I don't. Ever. Because I just don't want to be wrong. I just hate being wrong. And it's a different kind of wrong other than just being like, showing the wrong thing or whatever. It's about, like I said, being technically correct. That sort of thing. It's the best kind of correct. But it's also why I really try not to, like, I don't know, whatever. That's not really important. So, like, point being is that stuff infers why I don't want to do that kind of stuff. And so I don't. That's all there is to that, really. Yeah, so if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.